Welcome, everyone, to another adventure into reality. I am once again joined by my esteemed colleague, David Ellis. Welcome back to the show, David. You got to unmute, David.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
All right, David. So I'm having a little bit of audio trouble. I'm getting feedback through my computer, Robert. If you could pop in there and figure out what's going on there. So, David, Unified Health Systems, UHS for short, modular therapy. Last week, we gave people a little sampling of it. And in a very short period of time, our clinic facility in Barbados at Wisteria Court is going to be open. And we're going to talk about that, what immersion therapy is.
Yes. So immersion therapy basically involves a bunch of therapies that are connected to the individual in the way that you bring an individual in and they go through one system to another module to another module. So you put the individual through a number of different modules of therapy so that they become more integrated with themselves, not just at the body level, but at the mind level as well. When we say the word holistic and immersive healing, we really do mean that we're dealing with every aspect of the individual. Okay. So right now, our system has 7 therapies attached to it. And what we're doing is basically running them through a system of healing, which does not leave anything uncovered, from the body to the mind to the spirit.
The body to the mind to the spirit. And we call it modular therapy because it's for those that are coming in whatever situation they're in, be it a being that is totally healthy and looking for general youth regeneration, or somebody that's in the deepest depths of despair.
That's correct.
A modularized therapy thing that is based in a medical tourism model that everyone can afford.
That's correct. Because what we're doing in Barbados is a medical tourism model. So people can come here and get therapies that they would probably spend a fortune for in their home countries.
All of this modular therapy is based off of the best equipment that's out there. I spent years researching what worked and what didn't work. We put together a system that uses craniosacral therapy, myofascial release, as well as flotation tanks, hyperbaric chambers, pulsed electromagnetic therapy, and something known as the Lucia light number 3, the hypnagogic light. When all these come together in immersion, combined of healing, you get to go through a rapid transformation of the body, mind, and spirit that's a complex being. And we have to see people as complex beings who are coming for a deep form of immersion healing, something that is not available in our modern cultures.
This is correct. I think in our society, there's a preference towards traditional approaches to medicine, and some people just have become disillusioned by modern medicine, and they have moved over to alternative therapies, and there's a preference for that as well. But what Unified Health Systems is saying is that there's value in both. There is value in both. I think people have become disillusioned by the medical system because of the side effects from many of the pharmaceuticals that are being prescribed. And what we are doing here is giving alternatives to people so that they're not on this turnstile of take this drug and take this drug to take care of the side effects of this drug. We're putting together a system where we have actually, especially in Barbados, we have general practitioners on one side, but who are amenable and they're more understanding of alternative approaches because they themselves may have had family members who have been through the medical system. Okay, that's one of the hard lessons that a doctor has to learn. Okay, when someone that who's close to him has to go through the medical system, And a lot of doctors have learned that lesson in the last few years because they don't want them on those drugs that they prescribe. And so we have a unified system which involves traditional approaches and also alternative approaches.
All of these approaches all are part of this medical tourism concept. Now, David, you wrote a special paper on medical tourism. Why don't you give people a high-level summary of modern medical tourism, this $4.7 trillion business?
Okay, so medical tourism was inevitable. It was inevitable because depending on where you live, the prices for medical care can be catastrophic to your wallet. So we have a situation, for instance, in the US where there's a big debate on healthcare. Okay. We have found that people find it cheaper to jump on a plane and come to Barbados and have therapies done to go back to the US than to have it done in the US. There's another benefit to medical tourism. The wait times for procedures are a lot less. Okay, I need you all to understand that medical tourism is not like having secondhand doctors. These are world-class doctors. Actually, I'll share a story with you. One of the top plastic surgeons in Canada comes to Barbados every year to do procedures in Barbados for his clients in Canada. Why is that? Because he doesn't have to pay into the Canadian health system. Okay, he can actually come to Barbados and have do these procedures for his clients. These clients come down, and we have and they actually are able to get the procedures done for a lot less. It's just economical. Also, the cost of renting an operating room is just cheaper in Barbados and in a lot of third world countries than it is in the US. So this is the economics of medical tourism. Let me give you the social aspect of medical tourism. You're actually coming on a vacation to get healed. It doesn't get actually any better than that.
With that, we want to introduce people to what Wisteria Court. It's an office building, a medical office building that we've converted into our medical tourism clinic. And it is going to be opening first to second week in August. And we're going to be taking bookings, a very special form of bookings. So we here at Unified Health Systems Modular Therapy, hit the line, are going to be doing something special. We're also going to be collecting a large form of data. We're going to be using a multi-channel sensors that are going to be doing your heart rate, skin conductance, and we're also going to be using a EEG machine to actually measure when you're going through experiences. And we are going to be offering a special lower price, daily lower price, for those that will be a part of the data collection process between now and November. In November, prices around the Caribbean go up because that is their high season worldwide. So now you can get tickets for dirt cheap, $200 to $300, depending on where you're hooking up from. And it is a vacation place. Finding Airbnbs there are very high quality ones that are right there on the beach. So David, let's talk about Wisteria Court and what being a part of the opening journey and being a data collector means.
Okay, so Wisteria Court is our Barbados clinic. It encompasses traditional approaches. We have a GP, we have a specialist, and we have the system. We have hyperbaric oxygen therapy. We have the Lucia light, which was mentioned in last week's show. The Lucia light is a hypnagogic light. It takes the skill levels and the hit or miss out of hypnotherapy and makes it just hit. Okay, so there is that therapy. We have PEMF mat therapy, which was just accepted by the FDA after years and years of applying through and going through that process. We also have craniosacral therapists on hand. We have flotation therapy on hand as well, and a range of other therapies along those lines. So we do have the alternative approaches, but we also have the traditional approaches as well. With regard to the data collection, okay, I'm reminded of a Latin saying, in vino veritas, the truth is in the wine. So basically what we're doing is collecting data of the before and after effects of the system. Why would we be doing that? Because we're sure that it works. We've seen the effects. But we're not going to be spinning around with medical science and traditional approaches, querying whether this works or whether this doesn't. So what they do respect is data, okay? And we have a GP on hand, and I have written several white papers in the health industry before. So what we are doing is collecting the data based on what medical science requires as proof. So for those of us who may be scientifically inclined, we are collecting data to ensure that our results can be reproduced. We are collecting data in the form of skin conductance. We are using an ECG machine. We are using an EEG machine. ECG machine is basically an electrocardiogram. So we're going to test everything, the before and the after results. This is necessary. A lot of people would say, well, there's nothing to prove. I feel better. No, there is something to prove, because what it is that we are showing the world that this system works and unified modular systems work together. There's no preference of one system over the other. We want to get away from that. I understand that many people have become turned off by traditional medical science because it's become quite corrupted, because there's money in everything right now. There's money in politics, there's money in medicine. People have become quite turned off by medical science. But some of the approaches are actually good approaches. I can't speak for something like cancer, for instance, but I can speak for like stuff that they've done a lot of stuff with regard to creating interventions that work. Their standard is the standard of results that can be reproduced. So our standard is going to be that thing, because we don't want to have any doubt as to whether the system works. We know it works. We're going to collect the data specifically because we want to put that data out there.
We want to assemble a large grouping of data, as well as being able to take testimonials. Part of the journey of getting something that is not fully recognized by science is having those people stories that can get our white papers onto places in breakfast tables that they would never get to go to before. So part of the marrying of science and hypnotherapy, spirituality, consciousness, spirituality, we're looking for those that are having a variety of issues, be it sports figure, mother of four, depression. We want for those that are having a variety of issues, from diabetes to long-term depression, back issues. If you are having those particular types of issues, something that is a dramatic issue in your life, we're going to be opening up a certain number of slots between now and November for those that want to come at a reduced price in exchange for the collection of the data. And what we're going to be doing with this data is amassing it to prove not just consciousness, not just spirituality, but the science behind experiences itself.
That is correct. There is another aspect to this. We must understand, because I have been writing white papers for a while, that a lot of approaches have been buried specifically because of flawed data. Now, there are a lot of therapies that have just gone under the radar, okay? We have people who have made amazing discoveries, but for the lack of data collection, they were shut down. Okay, we don't want that. We know that the system works. We've seen it work many, many, many times. We've seen it many, many times. And what we are doing is basically collecting the data specific in the style that traditional medical therapies are done in, okay? So we're not trying to produce any drugs. We're producing a system that actually works. The before and after is very integral to our system. We must say that this system will produce these results over and over again. So we're not backing down or shying away from any difficulty that anyone's having. If you guys have issues, you can come to us and we will test that system and we will show you that we can make an improvement in your health.
Not only can we make improvement, we're going to be able to show you the before and after pictures. And a lot of that is proof in itself. I've put so many people through the system before this grand opening that the validation was there long ago, and getting it out there in the mass data collection, because I have previous before and after blood results and a variety of other tests that give validation to the system over and over again. But it's in the collection of this data, and that's offering to everyone that are our first sets of clients that are coming through to come here and be a part of this grander journey. So David, what I'd like to do is open up the call lines. Now, everyone, this is not going to be for a call-in session. We're going to be talking about people with medical issues. So those 13 people that have your hands raised, if you're waiting for us to have a reading, please put your hand down. And if you want to put your hand back up because you want to talk about medical issues and how this system can help you, and how David and I can go through a variety of points with you of what it could value, because we're also offering, before you would come for 3 days, we would give you counseling and coaching. And then after you'd come, there'll be nutritional counseling afterward, because we're trying to give a total package. David, let's talk about that before and after part of the package.
Okay, so we're offering a reduced price before the high season in Barbados. That reduced price is going to be at $800 a day. What we're trying to do is give you a completely revamped concept of how healing and health works. So the people who are going to be coming in that frame of time, what we're going to be doing is not only reducing your costs, but we're going to be sending you through an entire system. Okay? Yes, we would like your testimonial. The testimonials are anonymous, of course. We're not going to be identifying anyone. But what we would like to do is get as many testimonials as possible. And we're also going to back up the testimonials by hard data from an EEG machine, from an ECG machine, so that we can see that this individual came in this way and we can change that individual that way. There was a question earlier on in the chat about whether we'll be treating mental issues. We have therapies that treat every part of the human being, as I said before. We're not leaving anything out. The concept of immersion of holistic, there are a lot of people who say that they have holistic therapy in a clinic, which isn't actually true. What they mean is that they have holistic therapy in the sense of one therapy, which is part of the holistic diaspora, so to speak. So basically what it is they may do massage therapy. We are truly holistic in that we are dealing with every part of the human being. We're dealing with the physical body, we're dealing with the mind, and we are dealing with the spirit, the spiritual aspect as well. We're not leaving anything out. Okay. So Barbados, the Barbados clinic is going to be up and running. We are going to be taking people who are interested in giving testimonials and data. The cost will be less for you guys if you participate in this sort of study, and you all will be part of a pioneer group as well. What we're also offering is a concierge service. We will pick you up from the airport and drop you to the Airbnb. We're compiling a list of places that you can stay at reasonable rates. And
that's right next to the beach.
That's right next to the beach.
Right.
Everything in Barbados is next to the beach, Andrew.
Except for where I was before the end of the island.
Everywhere in Barbados is next to the beach. So we're offering that concierge service, so you will be taken care of. We are located in the heart of the tourist area, basically. We're on the south coast of Barbados, and it's not like everything is within walking distance because it's an island. So everything is within walking distance. And we will be pretty much taking care of you guys.
All right, David, let's open up some calls and reminder everyone this is for people that have any form of medical issues and want to talk to us, to me and David, about them and how we can help you with Unified Health Systems modular health therapies. So, Robert, let's spin the wheel of health caller issues.
Okay, first caller is Gregory. Gregory, you are now unmuted.
Gregory, are you there?
Hey, how you doing?
Great. Where are you calling from today?
Uh, Los Angeles.
Welcome to the show, Gregory. So, what's going on with you that you'd like to talk to me and David about that is going on with a medical issue?
Okay, so, well, first general question: is this covered by insurance, or is this something you hope one day will be through proof and evidence and whatnot?
David, you want to take that one?
Sure. Well, basically, you're coming out of your jurisdiction, so I'm not sure that Blue Cross and Blue Shield will cover you. However, if you're going to a medical doctor here, I'm not quite sure what the stipulations are based on your health insurance, whether your health insurance covers um, moving to another jurisdiction. Okay, so I can't answer that for you. That is up to you and your insurance provider.
Okay.
But I do know that the data collection is not only for insurance, it's also to make sure that we are accepted worldwide. Yeah.
Okay.
And that would eliminate the insurance question.
All right. So, I can just give you like a list of my medical issues that I deal with. So
Mhm.
it's a combination of I got a chronic fatigue, this candida, and like a fungal infection I cannot get rid of,
Mhm.
and like a dissociativeness. I have at one point in time like managed to reassociate, but I lost it after a few days. And since then, I've been focusing on attachment therapy, letting go of attachments, healing codependency, which I know you guys want to do. So those are my primary focuses, and I was wondering what you guys do to help with those.
Okay. So that was a list. I will start off with. I'll let Andrew deal with the spiritual aspect. I will deal with the physical aspect. Candida and yeast thrives on sugar most of the time. Okay, when you are having those issues, you need to restrict your diet quite a bit. I'm not quite sure if you take a nutritional therapy, but there are ways of making it difficult for that fungus to keep growing. Um, have you have you actually sought nutritional therapy at all, Gregory?
I got most of my nutritional stuff um like figured out. I used to not be able to eat at all, and then through healing and quantum biofeedback, which really opened me up, which is also,
Mhm.
I guess, if you guys, I was wondering if you guys did that as well, but that's a side question. It's not that important. I got a lot of my diet opened up. I can eat normally now. I almost never eat sugar. I know my body has trouble processing carbs and producing insulin, and maybe it's
Mhm.
because it's been so bad my whole life. Now I may have to do some form of cleansing, but I do eat normally now. I have virtually no sugar and low carbs.
Could you tell me more about your body having trouble processing carbs?
Um, that came up on the biofeedback machine, and if I have like a little bit of insulin, I see an immediate effect on my candida, and I have like these dark circles around my eyes, which used to be worse. Now it's getting much better. Um, but the processing carbs, apparently, maybe it's a genetic thing. I guess I don't digest it that well.
Have you had nightmares during this process at all?
Um, the nightmares were a little bit more recently, but I did have some recently that are very bad.
Mm.
Um, if I had a bad day and I went and got a power bar, and that I had a terrible nightmare from that. It was just so
Mhm.
like normally when I used to have nightmares, it was just, oh, whatever. I just got lucid and I went away, and it never really affected me. But this one was very toxic. It was a, not to give too much information, but it was like a rape nightmare, and it was very toxic. And it was just one day I had a power bar. Literally, that's it. And it just like that's how fine my diet has to be. I really do a good job with a clean diet, but it was a terrible nightmare, and it comes
Gregory,
back up.
Gregory, um, you said you had associative issues. Could you please expand on that for us?
Right. So I'm very disconnected from my emotions. I don't really feel them.
Hmm.
Um, if I feel pain, I often laugh. So it's to that extent. I can't really express it. And I've done so much healing work, but
Hmm.
some things that it's just very difficult to get to because I can't be present with the emotion. I can't do inner child work because my mind, if I think of something, a self-hating thought comes up. Like I'll think of knives cutting my tailbone all the time, and or just or something, something cutting nature, some kind of a psychic self-hate. And there is an entity. I was actually going to talk to you guys last time, but even when I reassociated, I couldn't get rid of it. So it's just I'm kind of struggling, to heal everything.
Andrew, the
So
cutting of the tailbone is very important, isn't it?
yes,
That is the cutting of the
very
root.
cutting of the root. So that is an external entity. This is a clear-cut sign, an external entity that's feeding on your misery, your cyclical misery. And until you are able to close down cyclical misery, whether it's from your food or any of the other stimuli that's creating this, you're going to find yourself having these windows into your dream worlds. Obviously, the cutting of the tailbone is getting off of your root, but it's also trying to get into your sexual energy at the base of your kundalini before the snakes unwind.
Yes, yes. I know what
Okay.
you're talking about.
You said you had a rape dream. Have you had a rape dream before that?
I there have been a couple of like bad dreams in relation to that,
Okay.
but yeah, there's a lot of the sexual issues like
Did
that.
you
Those
did you
guys.
wake up in cold sweats or hot sweats?
Um, I don't recall. I don't think so. It's usually sometimes it'll be a push away, and I'll force myself up.
Yeah. So what it is you're actually getting kicked out of your body, and something's trying to get into your body when you're in your deep dream, and that's why it goes to that frequency. Have you heard me talk about protecting the four corners of your bed, ritualizing your room?
I have that.
And what level of input are you putting into it weekly?
I clear it with the salt weekly. See, the thing is, I used to do like contract revocations a lot,
Huh?
I'll tell you an experience. I unfortunately push against this entity, and if I push against it, I don't really have that much will. Does that make sense? So
Yes, because it's siphoning your life force, and it's using its life force to pretend to be you, and you give up and let it be you because you didn't realize it's using your own energy to mimic being you when you have to take
correct.
over. That's why every time you're pushing on it, it's pushing back with your own energy. And this is a next form of sovereign human expression of saying, no more, motherfucker. No more. There comes a point where not only does putting your foot down mean something, but it means you got to be able to transmute anger into heart-based strategy of awareness to defeat these things that are there to do what? Test you at extended periods of time, long hours, months, weeks, sitting there waiting for you to show a pattern that they can use against you. Now, have you done flotation therapy before?
No, but I've always wanted to.
So flotation therapy in the esoteric version, in my view, is the great neutralizer of entities. David being a magical practitioner, what does salt do in the magical world?
It neutralizes forces.
Right. So you're going in 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt. Do you think that entity can survive in there? No.
But
So
can't it just detach and come back later?
yeah, but that's when you get to do your work without them there.
Okay.
Okay. You've got to outthink them. If you don't outthink them, you're not allowing your natural genius to come forward. And something else is there's also an internal self-created entity you've created that allows you to self-defeat yourself, that you defer to. That's where you really have to focus on, is the one that defers your authority to external sources. You and your father have a tough relationship.
Yeah, I mean, he completely ignored me
Right.
and then
Mhm.
abandoned me later. And then now, now this past 2 weeks, I've been confronting him about it. He's like ridiculous to now. He's like, "Don't worry, everything will be all right." And he just keeps pretending there's no problem. So I'm gonna tell him I'm gonna block his number and cut him off because I
Huh?
can't talk to someone who keeps calling me and acts like there's no problem. If he wants to know the weather in Los Angeles, which is all he ever asks, he can go check online.
Hmm? So, David, I want to move it towards you where we can use some combined of psychotherapy and hypnotherapy that might be able to help him out with the Lucia light.
Okay. Off the top of my head, Gregory, your issues with your father needs to be resolved. And part of that issue may be that part of you is resisting the disconnection. I'm going to say some very hard things to you. Family is very important. There comes a point in time, if family is detrimental to your life, you may have to move away from them. You may have to, especially if they're not willing to acknowledge that you have a problem. So that's number one. Like this is a hard thing to say to somebody because it
Well, he
sounds
doesn't
fancy.
live with me. He doesn't live with me. I live with
I
his
don't
mom.
mean move away
Correct.
in this way. I mean move away in mind. Okay?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean move away in mind. Yes, the geographical barrier is there, but there's a part of you which is still connected to your father, and you would like, people generally would like things to be okay. Sometimes you have to let that idea go if they're not willing to work out issues with you. It sounds to me like your father lives in a world where it is easier to forget that the problem is there or ignore the problem and hope it goes away. If that is an issue and he's not willing to engage you at a genuine level, you may need to distance yourself in mind. And this is a hard thing to have to tell you because it sounds counterintuitive. You cannot keep banging your head against the wall, and he cannot continue to interact with you in a state of ingenuine interaction. That is poisonous to
Right.
most people's health. It is poisonous. The other thing that it does, it weakens you quite a bit. What Andrew was talking about is very important in that it makes you vulnerable because you may not realize it. And I need to speak to you from a place where you can understand me. There is your conscious mind that you're using to speak to me right now, and then there's your subconscious mind. The activity in the subconscious mind is not necessarily being monitored. But I can guarantee you there are three things going on in your subconscious mind that you need to be very aware of, and everybody in this chat room. The subconscious mind houses your emotions. It also houses all of your memories, but it also houses your body's unconscious processes. What does that mean and why is it significant? They're all in the same place. Your heartbeat is housed in the same place where your concept of love and hate is housed. Your concept of hate and love is housed in the same place where your memories are housed. They may be in different areas in the brain, but in the subconscious, they're in the same place. What does that mean? When one thing gets moved around, everything gets moved around. Do you understand?
Right.
So imagine a washing machine, you put your memories, you put your body's unconscious processes. That would be your heartbeat, your blood circulation, circulation of the lymph nodes and lymph glands, your cellular regeneration and activity, your endocrine processes. Okay? And your emotions are in that washing machine. You turn it on and you keep it on high cycle, you're going to end up in a mess. Okay? So you have to understand that aspect. What is going on with your father there? The fight is on the inside. Okay? His rejection, because it is rejection, when you refuse to deal with somebody's issues with you and they are your family, it is a kind of rejection. But the rejection may be spanning from bad habits of ignoring a problem. It may span from fear of wanting to deal with a problem. It doesn't really matter. The effect is still the same on the individual. So, Gregory, you're going to have to let go of the idea that your father is going to deal with this. You're going to have to distance yourself from him in mind. And I'm going to tell you this straight. This is hard news to tell somebody, but you're going to have to do it, because what it is doing is destroying you as a person. So that's from the psychological aspect. From the physical aspect, please remember that I said that your body's unconscious processes are in the same place as your emotions. Okay? That is something that you must always keep in mind at the forefront of your mind. Every disturbance that you feel has a physiological response somewhere in your body. Okay? So the issues that you are dealing with, not being able to process carbs and so on, all of these things usually have a subconscious root attached to them. Usually it does. Things don't just happen. Things are usually made to happen. So you need to keep that in mind. And maybe you might need to detach from some of the memories that you are dealing with, the ones you remember and the ones you can't remember as well. Okay?
Yeah.
So with regard to how we treat something like this, a situation like this, I'm a hypnotherapist. And what we normally do is we make people remember and relive what it is that is affecting them at the subconscious level. Okay? Now I need to make a little bit of a diversion here. Hypnotherapy is not hypnosis. Okay? Hypnosis is the act of hypnotizing somebody. Hypnotherapy is the act of using hypnosis for therapeutic purposes. So I can tell you right now, your brain could be like a garbage pile for everybody listening to this. What happens is that you have a initial sensitizing event. Somebody may say something mean to you. Somebody may do something you don't like. So you bury it and you think it's gone because time heals everything. But what happens, Gregory, is that it festers and it festers. The thought, the initial sensitizing event in your subconscious festers over a period of years. Like it's buried when you bury garbage and you think that it's gone, but it's poisoning the land around you. That's how it works. And later on in life, you develop these symptoms and all of these physical symptoms, and it's really hard to get rid of them. But on the spiritual level, which is what Andrew was talking about, it also allows for the weakening of vital will in the individual. I'll let Andrew describe what that is. It weakens you and makes you more susceptible to things that you would not have been susceptible to on a normal day.
Right. The dog barking down the street suddenly putting paranoia and fear into you because you don't have enough of your own personal sovereign energy to hold your space and energy versus a dog barking.
I will give you an example of what I mean. 99% of all the exorcisms that have been performed by the churches that still do exorcisms are conducted on people who have been brought to despair, first of all. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah. I'm typically in despair.
They've been performed on people who have been brought to despair. Okay? And that is a long-standing statistic that has been from the day we discovered religion. Okay? In order to weaken somebody, you need to make them despair first. You need to break them down. So, Gregory, you are going to have to stop this trend because it's pretty much like circling the drain.
Yes.
Okay? It is
And
circling the drain.
part of the way to stop circling the drain is to flip the plug, stop the water from going out. And that's standing your ground. Now, I understand you said before you're using contract revocation. You were probably using them too much and they became a crutch to block everything out. And then after a while, an avalanche of stuff kept coming through. And it was almost felt like a break in faith that it always wasn't working for you. Was it similar to that?
Well, I tried to do it regularly, but the thing is like I couldn't really get rid of the entity. At one point, the heart meditations um, really purged energy. It felt like an exorcism, to be honest, but it didn't get it all out, and I couldn't. And to be honest, it I have this exhaustion in my gut, and it just no matter what I do, any form of pushing, I end up pushing against myself, and I get exhausted, and it's just game over, you know. So
Yeah.
I just try to think outside the box. That's why I focus on attachments. It's one thing I'm good
Well,
at.
you're over focusing on the healing itself right now and not allowing yourself to process what you've already gone through.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to ponder that, what you've already gone through. So we have to move on to our next caller. So if you're interested, info@unifiedhealthsystems.com. And we're going to thank you so much for calling.
Okay, thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Robert, spin the wheel of medical callers next.
Okay, next caller is Maria C. Maria, you are on.
Hey, Maria, are you there?
It's Marie.
Hey, Marie, how you doing? Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from the far south coast of New South Wales in Australia.
New South
Wow.
Wales, Australia. Welcome to the show. So what's been going on
my
with you?
Actually, I could relate to the last caller. Similar situation. I put a message up on the chat there. Well, I've got a couple of health issues. One is I've got a cataract in my left eye that has been developing. The medical diagnosis is that it was result of me having a retinal detachment in 2015 and the interference in my eye. The other issue I have is I have a partial left bundle branch block in my heart. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
How long has this been going on for?
I had the retinal detachment in 2015. The cataract I noticed last year, probably about 8 months ago, when I was driving, and I noticed that my vision wasn't as clear as it should be. My heart condition, I was diagnosed probably 17 years ago.
Okay. Have you had significant money flow issues your whole life?
Absolutely.
Would you say that it's extreme money flow issues?
Absolutely.
Have you been in
Yeah.
poverty before?
Constant.
Okay. So I gotta be brutal. This is ancestral karmic curse.
I'm not surprised.
Okay. But
yeah.
it's not a curse that somebody put on you. It's the weight of debt from lineage to lineage to lineage to lineage. And this is the, unfortunately, the classic self-help motivation in holding your space, similar to the other caller. But the heart condition, that's 17 years ago. Was it from an irregular beat? What was the actual diagnosis there again?
I was having stress issues, and when I went in to have my heart checked, and they picked up that the heart was missing beats.
Mm-hmm.
It was not picked. I had been in hospital in my 20s for other things, and it was never picked up then. So sometime between the time of me being 25 and 40, my heart issue developed, is what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
And I
What
don't
are you
know
doing
why.
for it right now?
I've not taken any medication for it. I work it from the spiritual perspective and try to improve my spiritual health more than anything. And health-wise, I have a very healthy diet and try to have a healthy attitude and go along those lines. I don't take any mainstream medication for it. And I do have supplements, vitamins.
What supplements and vitamins are you taking? I'm interested.
I take magnesium, calcium, vitamin D, vitamin C, and B.
Okay, so basically you're taking magnesium and calcium for the absorption. Which calcium are you taking?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, so there are two kinds of calcium. Calcium carbonate. Is that what's on your bottle right now?
Let me just check. Calcium carbonate.
Okay, so you can't absorb that. How old are you right now, Mary?
57.
Yeah, so you can't absorb that. Sorry for asking that personal question.
And
I needed to ask
fine.
that.
That's fine.
Okay, so you can't absorb that. Calcium carbonate is very difficult to absorb at a certain age. Okay.
Sure.
See if you can get a source that is calcium citrate. Okay.
Citrate?
The
Yeah.
reason, yes, that is a source. A lot of supplement users use a lot of stuff that people can't absorb. You could theoretically absorb some of it, but not all of it. Okay.
Sure.
You're using the magnesium and the vitamin D. For the callers who are a little bit confused, let me explain. Calcium carbonate is pretty much the stuff that would grow on the side of caves. Okay. Okay, it's pretty much like limestone, really. Okay, I'm just making an analogy. So it's
Certainly.
difficult to absorb. When you're younger, you can absorb it easily. When you get older, it becomes a little bit more difficult to absorb. So calcium citrate works. The vitamin D, what it does is unlocks your bones, right? And the magnesium helps with the absorption. Now, I'm not quite sure why you've chosen this particular supplement path. Could you please explain why?
No, because I don't really, I don't remember why I took the path. It's been on for a while. I've been taking these supplements for decades.
Okay, may I make a few suggestions?
Sorry, my apology. I was originally diagnosed with celiac when I was 40.
Celiac disease, yes.
Yeah, celiac. Recently, I had some blood tests saying that I don't have celiac. So.
Okay, yeah,
So
well, the diagnosis was probably wrong in the first place. That's the first thing. I'm not, but the calcium carbonate would definitely not help with celiac disease, for sure not. Okay, so I could pretty much tell you, I could pretty much, off the top of my head, based on your issues that you are talking about, you need to find, I'm not quite sure what the supplement stores are in Australia, something called coenzyme Q10.
Yep.
Okay, so you probably should be writing right about now, Marie. Right?
I am writing.
You need to get that. You probably, if you don't want to go on medication, you probably should be on medication, but if you don't want to go on medication, that is for your heart, okay? If you are going to go the holistic path and the holistic nutrition path, you might want to mix certain herbs with that. Now, from what I can tell, you don't handle stress well, do you, Marie?
No, I don't.
Nah. You suffer from anxiety, Marie?
Absolutely.
So you might want to get the following herbs in your arsenal of fighting these disorders. And you're over 57. So let me just pull out the stuff off the top of my head here.
But I am fit and healthy.
How much do you weigh right now?
45
45
kilos.
Stone? Okay.
45 kilos.
45 kilos.
I don't know what that is in pounds.
I've already done the calculation. So you're on optimal weight. My suggestion is that you get coenzyme Q10. You're going to need it.
Say that again.
You're going to and I'm going to just try to write it in the chat. I'll see if I can actually. You need a. Let me see if I can get a source. You're in Australia right now?
Correct. Oh, thank you. Yes, I've seen that before.
Yes, correct. You definitely need that in your. Thank you, Jenny. Jenny's our wonderful chat moderator. So you definitely need that. You probably should get Don Kai or St. John's wort. You should probably be drinking chamomile tea. Okay. In terms of the physical aspects of anxiety, you are running fight or flight mode continuously. Yes. So you're going to need adrenal support. If you have a condition, a heart condition, for everybody who's listening, your kidneys are going to be always under pressure. Okay? So you definitely need to exercise, for sure.
Yes, do that. Do that.
And the exercise form that you're going to probably be needing more than anything else is cardiovascular activity. Okay.
Sure.
And that doesn't mean becoming an Olympic marathon runner. Okay. It means just taking a walk for 30 minutes. Okay.
I do all that. I do that
You do that? Good.
regularly.
You're going to probably need to meditate. That when I said that we're doing holistic therapy, I mean really holistic. So you're going to learn how to meditate. Why? Because I suspect from what I'm gathering, because I'm also a psychotherapist, right? I suspect from what I'm gathering, a lot of your anxiety is self-made anxiety that you put on yourself.
From
Okay.
money,
Correct.
from all the money abundance issues
From the
from a
money.
very young age. Yes.
Yes. And survival,
Can I ask
being
you-
in survival constantly.
May I ask you a question, Marie?
Certainly.
You may have money issues, but do you care what other people think of you? You do, don't you?
I do.
Mm. And that might be the crux of most of your anxiety. So you're going to have to clear space in your mind where you are the center of your universe and not other people's opinions. Because I could tell you right now, other people's opinions are not important to who you are. Because
And
I
I
read
know
your
this logically. I do know this logically.
yes, but you need to learn it on your own skin, which is why you need to probably meditate. Because I was paying attention and I did read your chat insertion there. And what it says is that you care about what other people think, but your parents were probably very harsh with you. Is that correct?
Yes, it was abusive. My father sexually abused me and my mother was emotionally abusive.
Well, you're going to have to oh, well, Marie, you are going to have to disconnect from all of that. You are. You're going,
I
if
thought I
you don't,
had.
I'm going to give you the cheapest way to make a difference right now when you're in Australia. You're going to have to learn to meditate. You're going to have to close your eyes and see the thoughts inside. Okay? You're going to have to
Yes.
make a very important decision. Will I let other people kill me? It is as simple as that. Will I let other people's opinions kill me? Because what is happening with regard to you is the anxiety that you're building up is putting your kidneys under pressure and your adrenals under pressure. Okay? And what is going to
Sure.
happen is that they're being taxed. You're literally becoming older faster. Okay?
Sure.
You might want to reverse that trend. Because I can tell you one thing for sure, your brain only has a certain capacity to think. And you can't think your way out of a problem if you have other people's opinions in your mind. Okay? The Japanese
Sure.
have this saying, when you have too many minds, you are doomed to failure. Okay? You should only have one mind, and that should be your sovereign mind operating, because then you can think your way out of things. And I want to say something else to you, Marie. Any problem that you face, no matter how big it is, always usually has 2 or 3 solutions. Okay? It
Sure.
doesn't matter if you're buried under a mile of concrete, there's always some kind of solution. So with regard to the advice that I could give you for nutritional therapy, you need to mix your supplementation with the use of herbs. Okay? And I
Sure.
need to give you a small little lecture on herbs. They usually work in conjunction with each other. So St. John's wort will work together with valerian root. That will calm you down quite a bit. Okay? Mix the 2 of them together, and you get chamomile tea, for instance. These are simple, very cheap and economical solutions to bringing down your anxiety level, but you definitely need to close your eyes and see what's happening inside. So you learn to meditate. You don't have to go to an expensive meditation center, Marie,
No.
right? Meditation
I
can
have
be.
previously done meditations, but not
What meditation form have you done?
usually listening to music and just letting the music flow through, and try to do the visualization of the source energy and flow through the chakras. And I've tried Andrew's meditations a few times as well.
Okay.
But the practice is not stringent. I haven't kept it up constantly.
Okay.
Well,
Um,
coming to Wisteria Court can put you in a 3-day mini boot camp of deep anxiety relaxation. When you go from cranial sacral myofascial to the float, it's a rapid ratchet down of anxiety. When you come out of the float, you go right into a hyperbaric chamber, another rapid ratchet down of anxiety. And then between the float and the hyperbaric, that's equivalent to 16 hours of rests in that 2 hours.
so I think people, when you say that, Andrew, people don't understand fully what the flotation therapy does. Imagine that you're suspended and floating in water, and all senses have been removed, meaning that you've basically suspended in the void. It allows you to heal. It allows you to relax. There are no distractions. You are with yourself, so to speak. Okay. And that's what sense deprivation flotation therapy does. Okay.
Yes.
Marie, getting back to your issues, um, my suggestion would be not to complicate necessarily. If you want to come down to Barbados, we can have that discussion. Okay.
Sure.
My suggestion to you is that you learn to meditate. Don't complicate it. Some of the answers are
Okay.
usually very simple and right in front of you. Okay.
Sure.
But the supplementation that I've given you there would be the go-to options. Please
Okay.
be very, very careful when you're buying supplements. Okay, you have to be very careful. For instance, as I said to you before, calcium carbonate is very difficult to absorb. Right? You might as well be taking stones, really. Okay. The fact of the matter is, it's cheap. It's a cheap form of calcium. So most of the manufacturers just go towards it. I mean, like people in their 20s can absorb it, so it's fine. Okay, but generally speaking, please be very careful with your supplementation. Google when you need to Google, and
Sure.
or you could just ask a question on the show and get an answer
Sure.
like that. Okay,
That's fantastic.
Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you. What about the karmic side?
So the karmic side, now there's where once you take authority back and you're going to deal with the heart condition. So the heart condition is literally the breakage and separation and schism that your physical life, mental life, and spiritual life had to go through from all of the abuse and then all the money devaluing. You have to go through what I call a revaluation of your spiritual processes and see that the mystical is everywhere, just like getting onto the show. Wheel of callers, okay? All the other people that are waiting to do. You have to begin to acknowledge the small things and begin making what I call an archive of victories.
Okay.
It isn't just basic self-help. It is you finding joy and counting the victories that you do have. Because if you count the defeats, it's the defeats that stare back at you.
Sure. I thought I had been
Excellent.
counting the victories and looking at all the positives, but clearly not enough.
Sometimes we scratch the surface and we think scratching the surface is like a lotto card and you got the number behind it, when in fact there's many more numbers behind it. Sometimes we scratch a surface and we do a big healing, but we don't really process it. And because you were abused and you had money issues, you have many underlying issues in the physical life that have an unseen devaluing factor to you.
Mhm.
You can break that devaluing factor in a single choice. The hard part about the choice is seeing all the previous choice points of adherence that puts you into distortion and devaluation.
And Marie, we can tell that you're a good person.
Yeah, thank you.
I can tell that you're a good person and you're a gentle soul. My suggestion to you is that somebody like you should not be at the mercy of the currents of life. You have to take control. You have to take control over the issues that you are experiencing. You have damage inside from your experience. I don't know whether you've been counseled or taken a path of counseling, but you really should consider
In the early
it.
days, I did. Yes, I did in the early days. And I do
But
have
they
a
get-
support system.
Oh, you do? Well,
I do
okay.
have a support system with a very dear friend who also works on the spiritual path as well as the medical path.
Excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah.
But Marie, as I said, you're a good person, so you should probably, the world needs more good people.
That's right.
So you should
Well,
probably control.
David,
I'm
let's
trying
ahead.
to get out my message. I have a message that I feel that needs to be heard in regards to, well, the marine environment, and I have written three books and more to come, but I'm
Oh, wow.
having issues getting that going. So
Why is
maybe
that, Marie?
Illustrator issues. My first illustrator hasn't fulfilled the obligation yet, and it's been 6 months, and so I went for another illustrator, and so I'm just waiting for her to finish my second book, and then I want it to publish it out there. But I wonder if anything like karmic wise has been preventing it.
It's your own healing.
And it's my own healing. Yeah.
It's your own healing
I
and your
felt
own
there might have been
valuation.
blockages there.
Yeah, it's your own healing.
Okay.
It's going to stop the potentiality of the future in its tracks. But that doesn't mean it's not going to get out there. It's just not going to get out there in the time you want, and it's going to beat you up to get it out there, which is going to take away some of its goodness it's giving you.
Okay.
That's, once again, a subtle self-defeating program. Okay? So we got to move on to our top of the hour break right now. Thank you so much. And if you are interested, info at unifiedhealthsystems.com, and we can have a further conversation. Thank you so much. So Robert, let's go on our break. And when we come back, we'll continue with callers.
Okay, we'll be back in 10 minutes.
So the Western door of perception. Within that door, it opens up for you to see your dreams, feel your dreams, and know where your dreams need to be put. When I say put, we have a cellular memory. This cellular memory, we don't store our memories in our brain. We store it in the cells of our body. That is its purpose. And the actual skeleton that you have is the biggest data storage device that you have. Your actual skull cap, that which encases your brain, actually has a crystalline structure within the center matrix of the bone, from the way it grows, and that is actually where your actual dreams and hard memories are stored. And the brain is an access machine and uses that. There are times that when you are in intensive dream and you come out and that data area is completely full, and it must move that information to another part of the body. And after a while, one part is here, one part is there. And that's why you go through these sudden rememberings at times. People will say, oh, I haven't thought about this person in forever, this person forever. It's because the cellular memory became active. There was enough blood flow in a particular area that triggered something that needed to be what I call put back in its place because the code had gotten so long. I liken it to like the Microsoft bloatware that just makes the system run very slow. And the same thing can apply to the concept of the human being, because we are a data processing machine. The skin suit that you wear is the technology. The dreaming world is the infinite energy. The finite energy comes into the body. And where we cross over from our dream world to our physical world is where you can learn about the mechanics of how your dreams are stored. When you learn about the mechanics, you understand that few moments you have in infinity to the point where your conscious mind accepts finite concept is where you're downloading this information from your processing brain and understanding heart into the physical body that your cellular memory is. So that is the ultimate concept about the Western doors. Where is this information being stored in you? What techniques do you need to learn to access it? One of the first techniques is to challenge yourself when you first wake up in the morning. Can you identify if you dream? Can you stay in dream time? Can you hit the snooze button and fall back asleep and continue your dream? When you're in those states, you are processing infinity, quite literally, because your brain is moving at a much significant faster pace. as well as your heart interpreting that understanding, because the brain itself is trying to identify points in space and time. And in infinity, there are no points in space and time in the dream world. The mind creates this world so that it can perceive it and understand it. When you work with Dreamtime societies, they create a foundation for the brain to function in. This is commonly called mapping the pathways of past, present, and future shamans. When they map these pathways, what happens is your soul group has connections to that point. And when you have connections to that point, you're allowed in there to begin the brain perception outside of your body in your dream world so that you can process, learn. This is where you meet your totem guides, your animal medicine, your spirit guides, because they've set up the environment so you can process it, so you can learn communication in that world. That communication is where you're speaking from your heart and your mind is in perfect sync with your heart, because you're in that infinite mode where the heart is connected to the fullness of the spirit world. When you are in a child in the very beginning of your womb, the very first thing that comes forward is your heart as a fetus, nothing else. Think of that. Your heart is the first thing. Inside the heart is a piece of brain matter, actually, the very first concept of your brain. And as your body expands and you make a spinal column and a head, that little piece of heart separates into two, and a new brain is formed by the time the baby reaches 20 or 30 weeks. So bring that concept. As the dream world infinite you that has found a mother and a father, you've gone in, you start as a heart. As you expand out, your spinal column, your throat chakra, your brain, and your crown chakra are formed, and they're all still linked to your heart. This is the perception of the Western door.
The power of intention, that has the power of belief, that has the engagement of the placebo, that has the power of the soul, that doesn't matter because it's a non-agenda side, and the placebo is just a way to balance the agenda and non-agenda side that relates to spiritual contracts. There's that formula right there. That's what I was trying to get to. The placebo, the formula to the placebo. It can be its own standalone extended teaching that connects into a lot of what is required in personal suspension of disbelief, so you can get into some of the advanced light mechanics so that they can be spoken in a non-telepathic format, so that it actually is in the colloquial now. It's vital that it's in the colloquial now. There can be graphical aids, but the colloquial now should be able to create the mind image itself and the frequency vibration so that the light mechanic rules is a direct translation of the actual light language. They're still base 26 alphabet, so.
Yeah.
Which is something else that if we want to have some kind of mathematical explanation, we can use the base 26, alpha numeric system. Well, it's not base 20, 36, whatever you want to call it. Which is, hyperdimensional light math, which is what I use to create my, let's just say, system of pattern recognition when something that's being projected at me as a cipher. So I can recognize the pattern in a cipher and probably decipher it simultaneously if my focus and awareness are clear with intent of the moment-to-moment being making the choice. Welcome back, everyone, to the next segment in Adventures into Unified Health Systems. Welcome back, David. How you doing today? You are muted. Mixmaster mute. There we go. Oh, you're muted again.
I'm waiting for Robert to unmute me.
Okay.
Hi everyone. I'm doing good, Andrew.
So it's been a while since you've been able to take some live calls. So what are some of your reflections on our first callers?
I believe you have a good group of people here. I'm really enjoying answering some of these questions. Some of these questions are questions that we can answer. We can definitely help these people. I am very happy that people have an idea that their illnesses also have a spiritual component to them, a mental and a spiritual component to them. Because people generally tend to think in, oh, my body part is hurting me, and that's all there is. Yeah, so I'm very, very happy to provide information to your callers today.
Yeah. Well, I've been training my audience for 6-7 years now to see that every ailment has a spiritual reflection to it. And when you get at the source root of it, you can get back to being in a happy state and then battle that sickness back to health and wellness.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, it's not a battle anymore. It's the ability to outcreate it with joy and a completion of your inner purpose, to be a person, a place in this world that's out there that can be a part of the greater, activating the inner genius of others. I know you and I just love doing that. We can make singular statements and just watch the light bulbs turn on in people.
I want to say something to your audience as well. Every illness that you overcome makes you a little bit stronger. It does. It's kind of like every infection your body fights off makes it a little bit wiser. Okay? So whatever situation you're in right now, whatever you're facing, please understand that when you come out of it, you're going to be a different person than what went in. You're going to be a stronger person than what went in. So if you're at a point of despair, I just want to say to you, like our first caller, Gregory, that these are things that you have to go through in life, right? When you come out the other side of these things, you are a full practitioner of spiritual practice, of holistic practice. Okay? I'm having this song in my head, We Shall Overcome.
Great song.
It's very applicable to some of the calls we've been getting.
Yeah. And I can see a lot of, the Rocky Eye of the Tiger theme music for people coming to our clinic that are ready to beat these ailments that they know they can beat. They just need the accurate and real immersion time and then the processing time that comes after it. This is why offering this medical tourism or staycation option has a really high value for people to actually go and heal.
And we have a Boulder Ranch as well, if you don't want to travel.
Right.
We have a duplicate of the system in Boulder.
So we're looking for those people that want to step up to their health issue, their wellness issue. So we're going to open up the calls again and ask for the next set of callers to come and talk to us what's going on with their medical issues. And what we're doing is David and I are going to give some advice back. And this advice goes for everyone because every caller is a teacher in a new way. All right, Robert, spin the wheel of medical callers.
Okay, next caller is John. John, you are now unmuted.
John, where are you calling from?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes,
Where are
I
you
can.
calling from?
I'm in Nashville.
Nashville. Welcome to the show. Okay, what kind of questions do you have for us?
I think that putting it in one word, I don't think I can do it. So I feel like the best I can do to express is it's sort of like almost like a nervous system thing, but it seems to have affected mostly my like my hair falling out and like even like my testicles being affected. So I'm not exactly sure, but that at least I feel like sort of like a
Do you have
sort of
issues?
trauma.
Have you had issues identifying your sexuality?
Kind of.
The answer is yes. If you didn't come up with an answer right away, and you're avoiding it. Have you had severe trauma issues with your parents?
Yes, I'd say so.
Did that trauma cross the crime line?
I don't know. I don't think I'm probably not certain.
Do you feel like somebody did criminal acts to you?
I don't think I can say for sure.
Okay.
If just because it feels like it, I don't have a narrative that would.
That's fine. It's an instant question asking. It's really a test of what's on in the subconscious there. Have you had issues with drugs and alcohol?
No.
Are you afraid right now?
There you go.
It's a very simple question, John. Are you afraid right now?
Probably a part of me. I'm a little less than I would expect to be, though, but.
What are you afraid of, John? Are you afraid of being judged, John?
That I was thinking about that with the other caller because that's definitely there.
Well, this is a no judgment show. That's the first thing. So you could remove the fear. What else are you afraid of?
Probably being isolated in pain again or more.
Are you afraid of being a genius in this world?
No, that's pretty much miserable.
Why are you
John,
afraid? Why are you afraid of your own genius?
Because I can't get people to listen to me.
we're listening now, John. We are listening now. So, John, what is going on with your testicles? Are they shrinking?
They're just getting even more asymmetrical. Like one's getting bigger, one's getting smaller, and it just seems notable to me. It seems to be an expression of something deeper.
Okay, most nervous system disorders are created by a mental feedback of some sort. So you need to find out what exactly it is, or probably you're already aware of it, but you would need to express it. At the beginning of this call to us, you said you had issues with expression. Now, is it that you have issues with expression, or you don't necessarily, part of you does not want to express yourself because you're afraid of the reaction, or you're afraid of something of the sort? Because I can tell you that 60% of your problem can be solved right now, right here, if you just talk to us. You see that? That would be the hesitation of the self.
Yeah.
John?
Pow! You got David. You got hit by the David.
If you just talk to us, the reason that hesitation is what is giving you a lot of your problems. There is no one here in this chat room that is not without some issue, including myself, including Andrew. None of us are perfect. Okay? Some of us are less perfect than others. So, John, just try it once. Just try it once. Say what is on your mind and what you have to say, and just express yourself. Try it once and see what the results are. And then you can tell me next week, or you can email me. So just speak. Speak off the cuff. Speak off the hip.
Okay, that's challenging.
Okay. So you could start from something basic. What do you think your problem is?
Well, over analyzing things and not just being intuitive and natural, I guess.
Yeah, that'll make you pull your hair out. All puns intended.
Or make your balls grow different sizes.
So, John, we're talking. There are three of us talking in this room together. Why do you analyze so much?
I would say likely because I try to maximize the effect that I make on people.
Understood. In what way?
Get people's attention, get people to like me, get people to react to me, and do what I want them to do.
John from Nashville, I don't even know you. I like you already, so let's speak. I think it might be that your environment, you may be at odds with your environment.
Yeah, I'd say for sure.
I'm guessing so, yeah. And why are you at odds with your environment, John?
Why am I at odds?
Yes,
Who pays for your environment?
I mean, I'm living with my parents again, so that's not very positive.
That's why I said that's why you hate your environment. Where all the trauma began and nothing's been healed.
So you talk to them a lot, John?
No.
They talk to you a lot, John?
No, they kind of avoid me.
Oh. Are your parents behind you right now? Are they in the house?
They're in the house, yes.
Oh. So you want to bring them in and say hi, or not really?
Oh yeah, no, not really.
Okay.
Hi, Mom, you're live on air.
So off the top of my head, you're living back with your parents. I'm guessing that they're not very approving of you. Am I correct?
Well, my mother is not very.
Why is that? Does it have anything to do with your sexuality?
Or the way you look?
You know, she did at one point get really, really angry when she knew I had like a trans friend, and she created this weird story. But that I feel like in general, she sort of just demonizes me in any context that she.
Do you have big body piercings and tattoos?
No, not at all.
Right. So what is it that she's judging about you? Are you a straight-laced, polo shirt wearing, or are you challenging her with her clothing? What is it she's making you conform to?
I'd say probably because a part of me regards things as being easy, and almost like I'm almost like a part of me is carefree, and then she kind of is angry at that and kind of wants me to. I almost like she wants me to suffer or something and carry a burden, and so then it's like I start doing that.
There seems to be a trend in our callers today.
Yeah.
The parents, yes. I'm gonna give you the same advice I'm gonna give anybody else who have issues with their parents. John, your parents are not you. I'm assuming that I'm talking to someone who's over 18. Am I correct?
Yes, correct.
Good. Your parents are not you. Okay. A lot of damage are done to people by their parents, and that would include yourself as well. May I highly suggest, if you cannot heal that relationship, then you might have to distance yourself either in mind from the relationship, and I want to make a distinction here. Somebody could be standing right next to me, and I could be distanced from that person in mind. Okay? You would probably need to do the same. Okay? And I say this with all sincerity. A lot of damage has been done to a lot of people through the function of their parents, the relationship with their parents, especially if there's a large amount of judgment there. Okay? Now, I like to segue into different aspects there. And I want to just give you some information. Okay? The Greeks had classifications for different kinds of love. You familiar with that or not really?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Agape is what's supposed to be coming your way from your mother and your father. You know what that means? Unconditional love. Unconditional love. If you are not getting that thing, then anything else coming from a parent would be toxic. I'm sorry, but that's actually just how it is. Okay? When a parent gives birth to you, there's a concept of agape already enshrined in that process, unconditional. My child could have hair falling out. My child could have one testicle bigger than the other. And I do not care. That is what needs, that is what is supposed to theoretically happen. But people fall short of agape, and what happens is that they find themselves treating their children, their offspring, at less than optimal. And what happens to the offspring is that they become dysfunctional in one way, shape, or form or another. But John, clearly you're intelligent, because the fact that you know what agape is means that you are intelligent. So the first question that I have to ask you is, how did you end up living by your parents again?
I was living with my girlfriend, and she wanted me to leave, and I couldn't figure out a place to be fast enough, so I ended up going back with my parents.
What do you do, John?
I do all sorts of things, and nothing that's very comfortable or financially successful. I do music, I do photography and art design. I can't even think all the things that I do because I feel like I keep not doing things.
Okay.
Or not doing things successfully enough to even think clearly about them.
Can I give you a little bit of a heads up? Most creative people, like yourself, have made fortunes out of their own pain. May I suggest that you do the same?
Write a book, write a love song, make a rap about your pain. Yeah, we'll promote it.
We will promote it, because clearly we're dealing with somebody who's actually intelligent enough. The reason why you overanalyze is that you have a whole bunch of thoughts running through your head at the same time. I suspect that you have many different eyes to look at the world, and they're becoming confusing. You might need to streamline them and make them harmonize and move forward. You have different eyes looking at the world, and the information that's coming into your brain is stopping the expression. You are literally, I'm going to use a yoga expression, choking yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You understand what I just said, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have like over 20 unfinished music albums. Like, I have so much inspiration, and then when the overwhelm kind of comes up and the overthinking comes up, it's like, I'm going to take a break from everything.
Okay. So concentrate on one thing, finish one thing, and concentrate on another thing, finish another thing. But off the top of my head, John, the many different eyes and the many different things are creating a traffic jam in your head. Okay? And you are choking yourself. The fact that you have trouble expressing yourself, I'm going to just segue into Ayurveda. That would be a challenge to Vishuddha chakra. Okay? You are all choked up inside, and you need to speak, right? And I suspect, and intuitively, of course, I hate doing the intuitive thing. That's Andrew's job. But I suspect and intuit that you and your girlfriend may have had communication problems. Am I correct?
Yes, for sure.
May I ask, what's the last paying job you had?
I was like, it wasn't that long ago. For a little while, I shopped for customers at the grocery store.
Right. So how long ago was that?
Oh, just a few months ago I did that.
So you haven't had a job in a few months?
Correct. Well,
Yes.
I did a couple little bitty things, but not a steady job.
John, why are you fooling yourself? You are intelligent, you are creative. Why are you shopping for groceries? Not that I mind. I'm actually thinking about getting your number, because the bane of my existence is going to the grocery store. But the fact of the matter is, you're intelligent, you're creative. What are you doing? John, get it together.
Yeah.
I want that music, so get it together, because I'm sure you can produce a lot more of yourself. You are locking off yourself. You are choking off yourself. You are. Okay?
Do you have
And what?
do you have a video game issue?
No.
You are choking off yourself, John. Get out there, do stuff. And you do need to do something. You can't live in that existence that you're living in right now. And as for the girlfriend, if you probably, I don't know whether it's completely over or it ended in a mess, but maybe if you call that girlfriend and speak to her and express yourself, John, did you love your girlfriend, John?
Well, I invited.
You
She was
need to
out.
think about that, John.
She was out traveling, and I invited her to come stay with me for a while with my parents. So she's here now, staying here.
Oh, where is she? Can we meet her?
Well, she's not literally in the house right now, but
Can we meet her, David? We're gonna find somebody to bring her on.
Right.
Push to the envelope of the show.
Yeah, because you know, John, I'm going to tell her, John has something to tell you. John, you're going to have to speak to this woman. You're going to have to speak to her. You're going to have to tell her, hi, do you love this woman, John? I'm going to ask this question a second time.
Do you love her, John?
I feel like my brain has been so scrambled that I don't even understand anything anymore.
Okay, let me help you unscramble it quite simply. When she was away from you, did you miss her?
I went kind of crazy. I absolutely missed her.
Then there's a high possibility that beneath the network and the traffic jam in your head, there may be something resembling in the future, something that might develop into love. Agreed?
That it might develop into love.
Yes. John, the fact that you're thinking about that means that you're so disconnected from your emotions. So here's an experiment that you're going to do for me, please, if you don't mind. And I wish the girlfriend was there. Oh my God, I'd like to talk to her myself. Right. Here's an experiment that I would ask you to do. You're going to go to your girlfriend and you're going to ask your girlfriend, do you love me? I'm sorry, is this a difficult call? You see, I'm trying to help you here because really and truly, I suspect you need that girlfriend more than you know. So you're going to say, hi, my name is John. Do you love me?
Just like out of AA.
Right. And she's probably going to say something like, well, I don't know. I might love you. And if that happens, how do you think you would feel, John? John, how would you think?
I mean, it'll bring up a whole contrast of different things that I've done to hurt her, things that she's shown me that she does care about me. It'll just bring it all of it up to the surface.
It all
That
needs
is
to be
correct.
forgiven.
Uh-huh. It does. John, you're going to have to sit down with this woman because you need her, huh? You do. You do. You may not think that you need her, but believe me, you do.
You do.
You do, John, because if she goes away from you and if you lose this woman, your mental machinery, how long have you been together?
I guess sort of 3 years.
I guess sort of 3 years. She has put up with somebody who does not communicate in a loving manner with her for 3 years. This woman loves you. Okay?
You need any more
This
proof?
woman loves you.
Need any more proof?
This woman loves you. Think about it very carefully. And I'm not going to be kind. John, if you had to live with you, it might be difficult. Yeah? Come on. Come on. Admit it. Admitting it is the first step in our Communication Anonymous. Oh, we have a communication module in Baby Steps, by the way. which is specifically being put there for people like you, John, by the way. John, you need to speak to this woman. You can't lose her. You can't.
All right, David, we got to move on to the next caller. Thank you so much for calling, John.
Thank you.
John, the next time you call, could you bring the girlfriend with you? We need to sort that out.
Sure.
All right. Take care. Take care, John.
Take it easy. All right, Robert, let's move on to our last caller of the show. Robert, you are muted.
I hate when that happens. Last caller will be Shireen. Shireen, you are now with Andrew and David.
Shireen, are you there?
Hi, Andrew. Hi, David.
How you doing? Where are you calling? Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Mumbai.
Mumbai. Welcome to the
Excellent.
show. What would you like to talk about today?
I'd like to talk about autoimmune diseases.
Okay.
I have a thyroid condition that I've been struggling with for more than 12 years. So, I'm taking allopathic medication for it. Naturopathic and Ayurvedic doctors have said, it's not that they could reduce it, but there's really nothing more that they could do. So, I did work with food for a bit. What was that? Integrative medicine or something like that, where you use food to heal your body. But that didn't really work. It did help with the brain fog, but it didn't do, anything more. So, any insight would be helpful.
Excellent. So what is the, what are you taking right now?
L-troxin, a medicine called L-troxin in the morning. So that's the only medication for my thyroid. And the only thing it really does is keep the fatigue at bay. I'm having all other symptoms associated with hypothyroid, Hashimoto's.
Okay,
So,
I was about to ask you that question.
Yeah. I go through periods of I'll do something and I'll see if it works, but when it doesn't give me exactly the kind of results I want, I sort of abandon it, which is what's happened. Like I've sort of fallen back into, I don't know. I think it's just, I hate saying this, but I've sort of given up. I don't eat well anymore. I don't exercise anymore because it's just not giving me results. I just end up
Why
more
is that?
tired.
Why is that?
I think I've just not cracked the code. I've just not found the thing that works for me. I'm hoping. I mean, that's what it is.
I'm going to ask you a personal question, Shireen.
Okay.
Have you or your family had a history of fibrositis of any kind?
My mother developed hypothyroidism. My mother and my sister as well have it, but they don't have the sort of symptoms I do. They have slightly different symptoms, to say the least. And my mother developed it much later in life after she had both her kids, 1997.
So there's first of all, there's a hereditary component?
Yes, definitely.
I see. How much do you weigh right now?
Somewhere like 80 kilos.
80 kilos, 160. Has the weight fluctuated?
A lot. I fluctuate between 70. 70 is the lowest I can go with exercise and diet. I'm supposed to be 60.
What kind of exercise are you doing?
So I used to run, but then they said then I started doing strength training along with it. That's the only thing that really helped. But then when I used to take breaks for my studies, when I was in college and all, so that time the weight would just boomerang backwards, like in a month. So it just became difficult to keep up. I did that about 4-5 times, I think. I brought myself back down to 70 kgs, but then it's futile it feels like it's, you're on a hamster wheel. So yeah, I stopped doing that after a while, which is why I'm at 80 kgs now.
Okay. What is your nutrition like?
In what sense? I mean, do you mean what do I eat on a day-to-day basis?
No, maybe I should do the shorter list. When was the last time you ate roti?
I think maybe 2 weeks back.
Was the roti made with any kind of ghee?
No, not at all.
So it was like a chapati?
Yeah, like a very light roti, a small one.
Whole wheat or straight flour?
Whole wheat, whole wheat.
So you always use whole wheat?
Oh yes, my mom's quite health conscious. For my dad's sake, we all gave up ghee, we all gave up oils. So the food at home is close to healthy, I would say.
What does that mean, close to healthy?
Well, it's not. We eat mainly vegetarian food, even though we do eat non-veg from time to time. We prefer vegetarian. So the protein component is a little difficult to get
I'm
through.
vegan, by the way.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
it's that we don't make it. It's not that it's not available. They don't consider it like an important part of the meal. They
Shireen, what
just
did you eat this morning? What did you eat for the day?
today. I think I had oatmeal with protein, pea protein powder,
Okay, and then
and tea,
what kind of tea?
chai.
Chai. You had
Yeah,
oatmeal with protein powder and chai. What else?
yeah. That's it. That was breakfast.
What time is it in Mumbai?
Oh, right now it's 21st here, so it's 5:13 in the morning here. So I was talking about yesterday's breakfast, since I assumed you were.
So you've already had protein with
No,
oatmeal and
that was yesterday.
okay. So this
I've not
morning
had.
you've had
She hasn't had breakfast yet this morning. It's 5:30 in the morning her time.
yes, but is that all you ate yesterday?
No. I ate lunch, and I didn't eat dinner because I was traveling and I slept off, so I didn't eat dinner, which is why I'm up at an unholy hour. So yeah.
Okay, off the top of my head,
Mm-hmm.
hypothyroidism requires a steady diet. That's number one.
Okay.
Do you fluctuate between hypo and hyper?
No, not at all. It's hypo all the way.
It's hypo all the way. So you're in Hashimoto's disease, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you've sought medical advice. Am I correct?
Plenty of medical advice.
And they try to put you on thyroxine at all?
I think altroxin is a form of thyroxine only. I think it's just the name brand available here.
Oh, it's because it's India. They've changed the name brand. Okay, so you're on thyroxine.
Mm-hmm.
What is the dosage, please?
So for a long time, I was taking about 100, I think, or 75. But last year they cranked it up to 150, and we reduced it beginning of this year to 125. And I gained 6 kgs. I was 78. I'd lost weight again, and no, sorry, I was 74. Sorry, yeah, 74. I lost 6 kgs again. I gained those 6 kgs when they reduced my medication, so I'm back to 150 now.
Okay, so Shireen, off the top of my
Mhm.
head, here are the things that you need to do. You need to start back exercising. I'm sorry, but I'm going to give you I'm going to give you exactly what the exercise does. Okay.
Okay.
So the thyroid is part of your endocrine system. Okay.
Right.
Endocrinology. Please understand that every part of your endocrine system affects the other parts of it. Okay.
Right.
All right. I'm going to segue into Ayurveda because you are in India, and I assume that you probably gotten Ayurvedic advice before. Am I correct?
Yeah, but they said that there's not much they could do. They could reduce the medication, but they can't heal
But
me.
they can certainly help you with the diagnosis. So the endocrine system was mapped onto the chakra system years ago. Okay. So
Yes.
you know that the diet for the thyroid has to be constant. You need to have a constant diet. What you might need to do in these cases, I'm giving you advice from different medical systems and different therapy systems. Okay, so let's excuse me. I just segue into different therapy systems, I'm sorry. You absolutely need thyroxine, you do,
Mhm.
but you need to assist that thyroxine because the endocrine system responds to exercise.
Okay.
It responds to exercise. It does. So let me tell you what each exercise form does and has an effect on your endocrine system. So if you're running, right? If you're running
Right.
or you're doing cardiovascular exercise, I need to explain something to our callers before we continue here. Weightlifting or resistance training is the king of fat loss. It is not the king of weight loss. There is a difference between the two. Okay? I will explain to you.
Mhm.
If you are running, you're probably running down that system because you're running that ATP for 30 minutes, or I don't know how long you do it, and you're probably going to get run down. The weightlifting that you're doing has a more subtle effect on your endocrine system. So basically, when you put resistance against your muscles,
Mhm.
you're creating little micro tears in your muscles, okay?
Okay.
That's what it is. What happens is that your body's immune reactions, there's no immune system because the immune system doesn't have organs as such, but your body's immune reactions, what it does, it goes into a healing kind of mode, okay?
Mhm.
So when it is that you come off of like lifting weights, the damage that is done burns energy long after you have stopped lifting the weights. When you run on a treadmill, you're running and you may be losing sweat, you're losing water from your body, whatever. But when you come off the treadmill, the fat burning stops, okay?
Right.
When you are lifting weights, the fat burning continues after you have lost weight, after you have stopped lifting the weights, because your body
Right.
needs to heal. Okay.
Mhm.
Now I'm guessing that you went to a doctor or some kind of told you that you need to exercise. Okay. So you have to
Yes.
decide, Shireen, what is it that you're trying to lose, and which is best for your condition? Which is best for your condition? I'm thinking that probably weightlifting may be better for
Yes.
your condition with light cardio. Agreed?
Yes. 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 Of course.
So, to avoid the rundown feeling, you are going to have
Mhm.
to structure your diet with the weightlifting so that you don't get the energy dip, the energy dip that you're speaking about, because you're dealing with the endocrine system. You have to
Right.
pre-think what is going to happen when you make a change. Okay?
Okay.
So I don't know if anybody has spoken to you, but before you go weightlifting, the carbohydrates have to go in. After you
Okay.
finish weightlifting, the protein has to go in. You have a 2-hour window after lifting weights where your body absorbs, is in the maximum state of absorption of protein. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Right. But and how much protein are we talking? Like one egg, or are we talking how much
The
serving size?
human body, the average human body, in terms of protein, requires 50 grams of protein,
Okay.
to stop your teeth and your hair from falling out. Um,
Hmm.
so that's the average human body. So whenever I say this, people always wonder, what does that mean? 50 grams of protein is the size of a deck of cards, basically. Okay, for those of you who want a visual, right?
Mhm.
So if you are eating a whole chicken, you're probably getting way and above the amount of protein that you need.
Yeah.
You I'm getting a bit of a feedback here. Hold on, let me just. So hold on, let me. So with regard to, so you need to plan. You need to plan, okay? If you are
Mhm.
going to go back on reforming your weight, I highly suggest what you do is that you plan your exercise so that you don't get the energy dip after, which is really blood sugar level dip. Okay,
Right.
so put the carbohydrates in, and you choose the carbohydrates wisely. Now, I'm very familiar with an Indian diet because
Okay.
I'm vegan. So there are only two places that I can eat, the Chinese and the vegan, when I go out, okay? So I'm very familiar with an Indian diet. I actually have a lady in Barbados who is Indian who cooks, who I get food from on Sundays, because really and truly, I'm only here to deal with the clinic. But basically what I'm familiar with is not a lot of complex carbohydrates in the Indian diet. And when I say
Yes.
complex carbohydrates, we're talking about sweet potato, we're talking about food that is grown from the ground. We're talking about like, I'm not quite sure if you know what yams are, cassava,
Yes, yes.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to
Tapioca.
put that in. Yes, correct. You need to put these things in before a couple of hours before you go train, because they're
Okay.
complex and they break down slowly in your body and release energy bit by bit. You go train, and then within 2 hours after training, put the protein into your body.
Okay.
Are you understanding me?
Yes,
That will
yes.
balance you so that you don't get the tired feeling that you're getting. And then
Okay.
you can control your weight, which will control the thyroid problem. But on a holistic level, if you want to be holistic and you really want to deal with your problem completely, you said you're on allopathic medicine. What
Mm-hmm.
are you? What are you using?
Just L-toxin and B complex, after my breakfast, but that's not vital if I don't take a B complex.
Yeah, it is
That's just
vital. It is vital. I'm going to interrupt you right there. It is vital. It is
okay.
vital because B6 specifically deals with the absorption of nutrients from food in your intestine. Okay?
Okay. Right.
So that's why they put you on B complement, B vitamins. They work as a family. Okay? So
Okay.
if you want to absorb the food that you're eating, um, especially when you have a wonderful Indian diet, oh my God, you're making me hungry, right? So if you want to absorb the food that you're eating, you need B6 in your body. You do. Okay.
Okay.
If you're vegetarian or you're
Flexible.
predominantly vegetarian, yes, if you're predominantly vegetarian, you definitely need B12. There have been a lot of vegetarians who think they can live without cyanocobalamin. That would be
Mhm.
an error.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
because it's responsible for coating the nerves in your brain. So you might
Oh,
want to. Yes, it is. It's
Yeah.
very important.
that
Yeah,
I've not known.
all vegetarians are crazy. Yeah. No, no. I was just saying, it's responsible for some very important functions in your body. So, you're going to need to you're going to need to get B vitamins in your body. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Um, that is a solution to the general problem, but you can manage the problem. Look, Shireen, if you're getting frustrated with the problem can be managed. Okay, so off the top of my head, that's an immediate solution to your problem. You cannot cure the thyroid
Hashim.
issue. You can't cure it, but you can manage it to make it negligible.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a question for you. Are you having heavy menstrual cycles aligned with this?
This year I am. Usually I'm normal, but yeah, this year I'm having even other menstrual symptoms. So that may be because I went off the food lifestyle thing I was following before. But I think it's because of that, because it's been since I left it. But yes, I am having this year.
Okay.
Yes. Well, Shireen, as I said, your endocrine system is linked into each other.
Yep.
Okay. What happens to one gland in your body happens to has
All the glands.
repercussions. Yeah, it has repercussions for all the glands in your body,
Okay.
including your reproductive organs. So you need to be very careful with that. You need to manage it. You need to manage it.
Hyperbaric therapy can be something that can help make the managing more accessible.
And I keep
Right.
telling people, you can use herbology and you can use nutrition together. So in your case, black cohosh would be the go-to herb for you. Okay,
Black cohosh. Okay.
you could go research it. Okay,
Yes.
Black Cohosh and Chaseberry.
Okay, sure.
Are you writing that down, Shireen?
Well, David, we gotta end the show here. Shireen, thank you so much for calling in. And when you get a chance after you've done some of this stuff, give us a call back and give us an update. You can also contact us at info@unifiedhealthsystems.com. David, thank you so much for coming on. And anyone that's interested in getting into the pre-booking special where you'll be a part of the data sharing process with Unified Health Systems, please contact info@unifiedhealthsystems.com. And we'll be back next week with another show. All right, everyone, take it easy. Have a great day.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Thanks, Shireen. Bye-bye.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge, it's the Holy Grail. Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.